Hey, listeners of the What's Up Castleberry podcast. At the top of our episode today, that was a bit of music from our special guest, Fletcher Wilson of Fletcher Wilson Music. We hope you enjoy, and you'll be hearing more of his music and conversation with Fletcher at the end of today's episode. Now, enjoy the podcast. What's up, podcast listeners? It's Andy, it's Drew, it's producer Robin. We are back with another episode of the What's Up Castleberry podcast. It's July 2023, and we are recording episode number 136 of the podcast. Hey, Andy. Hey, Robin.
Hey, Drew.
We're located here in Castleberry, Florida, and we exist as a podcast to talk about all things in Castleberry. We were recording on July 5th, so right after the 4th of July holiday. How was your weekend, and anybody do anything fun and exciting to celebrate the independence of America?
Is this a setup for a British joke? Is that where you're going?
I feel like this is an annual thing. We gotta Andy, how is it?
Well, I will say that this 4th of July, in my 25 years of being in the US, is the one where I've had the least British jokes or comment.
Oh, that's good.
Wow.
Yeah, I think that's been a little bit healing somehow.
Well, and I saw you had personally a really good day. You were with your family and at the Orlando City game, and they won big.
Yeah, they won 4-0 on the 4th. And that was a big celebration, and we got some fireworks, and they had a laser display afterwards, and it was, I got to sing America the Beautiful, and that's good.
On the field, you really?
Yeah, no, in the stands, and there was no microphone as I was singing. It was just playing as we walked.
So I've been to your church, Andy, and you don't need a microphone when you sing. I've heard you.
It makes a joyful noise, right?
He does.
Robin, are you a big fireworks girl?
I do. I like watching fireworks.
Robin, you're a firework.
Fantastic.
Special music by Andy.
Well, this is the musical episode.
That's
we have a musical
right.
guest, and maybe subconsciously I felt the need to compete or something.
You can't compete with him.
I realized that.
That's good. We were over at the beach, my wife and our children and I, at my in-laws' place in New Smyrna, and it was fun. I had seen previous years a big fireworks display on both July 3rd and July 4th, and didn't really think anything of it, just thought, oh, it's down the way, maybe at a public square or something. But apparently, we learned this year that for years now, there's this large family from Kentucky. There's like around 70 to 80 people. They come down from Kentucky, they bring all their fireworks, they rent out like an entire floor of a hotel room in New Smyrna Beach, and they just literally blow up the beach with probably several $1,000s worth of fireworks just right there on the beach.
Wow. Did they do it again yesterday?
They did. We're thankfully just far enough away where we don't have to worry about anything coming too close to us, but we can see it from a safe distance. Yeah.
That's very cool, because I had a lady in my church who went to New Smyrna and goes every 4th of July. And she said that the fireworks weren't as dramatic there this year as before.
Maybe less family members.
Yeah, yes. Yeah, hopefully none of the family members were hurt or maimed as a result of previous years.
Can I go to the second part of your question as
Sure.
it reads in my show notes?
Yes, of course.
Andy, can you speak on behalf of all British people everywhere? What's it like to celebrate the independence of America? To your question, my answer is no, I can't.
No, you're one of us. You're a proud American.
It is a great family holiday where we celebrate kids and moms and dads. And talking of dads, do you have anything for us, Drew?
There we go.
I was stealing the setup before you got there.
I was wondering where this was. I thought it was going to be a beautiful moment about unity and what makes America.
It was just a transition to get to where Drew wants to go.
It is. Listener, if you are unaware of what we're doing right now, we are setting up for our next segment, the Dad Joke of the Week. And as I get ready to list off my two dad jokes, I see my friend Andy, who normally is pulling up his phone to look at text message jokes. He looks much more dapper and sophisticated. He has a book that says Dad Jokes The Priceless Edition. Andy, what's the story behind your book?
Well, so the story is my kids, who I'm sure admire me as a brilliant humorist, bought me for Father's Day a book about dad jokes from the guys at Dad Says Jokes. Now you see their little vignettes on Instagram and Facebook, two guys sitting on a dock.
Oh,
But
yes.
that's these guys.
Okay.
And they've written a book and they try and make each other laugh. And honestly, I love Doug. He's my dad joke dealer, supplier. But there's some good stuff in here too.
Okay. That was a passive aggressive shot at you, Doug.
No, I love Doug's dad joke.
Oh, do you want to start out then, since you've got your book open?
No, you go first,
Okay,
then we'll get the lame ones
Yeah,
out.
it's-
I'll back clean up, and we can finish strong.
All right, sounds good. I like the cleanup joke. That's good. All right, that was an office deep cut there. All right, here we go. Dad joke number 1. Since we just celebrated the holiday, minor America Independence Day related. Robin, Andy, what is the most popular sporting event on the 4th of July? Do you know?
What?
It's not the hot dog eating
No,
contest.
Robin, you can't just say what. You've got to take a guess. I would have said the hot dog contest. Did you see that yesterday? 62 hot dogs, the guy down.
I'm hungry. I don't want to talk about that.
Was it in 10 minutes?
10 minutes, yes.
That's unbelievable.
Yeah.
And it was like the 16th time he'd...
All right, here we go. Most popular sporting event on the 4th of July is not the hot dog eating contest, although some would argue it is. It's actually flag football.
Good job.
Here we go. All right, number 2. I like this one. This one I feel confident in. Here we go. This is going to get Andy to maybe at least give a half sincere chuckle.
Okay.
Andy, do you know why Americans never knock on the door?
Because of doorbells?
Because freedom rings.
Hey! Freedom rings.
All right, your turn.
Okay.
Dad joke book.
Okay,
Here
I
we go.
got my
A whole
book.
nother
All right.
level.
And
Let's
I'm
go.
literally, Robin will attest, just finding random pages and they're all good, okay?
You're so excited. I wonder what, like,
There's
a
a glow.
child.
I
There's a
am
glow.
I'm excited.
You're
I mean,
so
we could read the whole
excited.
book. What's 1,000 times better than Instagram?
What?
Insta-kilogram.
He doesn't know the metric system.
Yeah, definitely.
That's very un-American.
There was some British humor.
It was, yeah.
He's,
right.
he's passive aggressive against the revenge.
Why are there Pop-Tarts but no Mum-Tarts?
Why?
Because of the patriarchy.
That one really
That really did tickle Robin. That's good.
And I love how you're saying them like the guys on the you just deadpans, no smile.
That's right. That's right. Robin, because I think the goal of that is to not make the other guy laugh.
Right.
Robin would be a terrible
She would be
participant
out at
because she's got such a good laugh. All right. If you're unable to hold your bladder in the Netherlands, what are you?
What?
Dutch something. I don't know.
European.
The Netherlands tricked me. Okay.
Okay. My wife asked me why I wanted to be cremated the other day.
Oh, she's got plans for you.
I told her it's because it's my last chance to get a smoking hot body. And there you go. The book will be back next episode. I think this is a keeper. Doug, keep the jokes coming, but me and you, we're going to write our own book.
That's right. That's right. I've been highlighting, just coming around on the heels of the 4th of July, and I just thought instead of Castleberry in the news in lieu of this, I thought it'd just be kind of fun to riff for a minute just on your general thoughts about holiday traditions. It seems to me like our natural rhythm is that the city, wherever you are, Castleberry included, kind of dictates whether it's the decor, whether it's events, but it's kind of programmatic of the cultural holidays, as it were, right? Which is natural. At Christmas time, you're going to put up a tree, you're going to have lights, etc. Thanksgiving, I don't really know what the decor for Thanksgiving is.
Yeah, it's
but-
like pumpkins and
Yes,
Aw.
thank you. Yes.
fall and...
What would you say, just raising kids, living in the town of Castleberry, how would you identify and how would you share with people that were visiting, those from the outside, kind of Castleberry's culture, our emphasis on different, it doesn't have to just be the 4th of July, just in general, like, how do we do you feel like, how do we measure it?
I think we do great. I think the thing that is really helpful in community building about holidays and about these rhythms that we have built into our calendar is that it, one, provides us with an opportunity for a break, right? We'll go, holiday. And we all breathe a little lighter, hopefully. And in that breathing lightly, secondly, we come together,
Yes.
right? And we gather. And so I love how the city changes the signs on the street lamps. Obviously no city can celebrate every holiday now because, every day is a holiday for something, right? I think today's maybe
Pop-Tart Lovers Day.
Pop-Tart Lovers Day. That was yesterday.
Okay.
I'm still recovering from that one. You can't do everything, but you can do some. And so, during the Christmas season, you celebrate Christmas because it's an opportunity that brings people together. Our local church is going to be leading the Fall Festival this year. Robin's part of the team. We're both part of the team. Again, it celebrates the season, and it's an excuse to bring people together, to build relationships, to build community. And we know that a healthy community is built on healthy relationships. So anything we can do to facilitate relationships is a good thing, and holidays help us do that.
Yeah, that's well said. Not too much to add. Really, other than just in a time where it seems like on the surface there's a lot of friction, a lot of disagreements on different things. There is something unique about the holiday season that sort of is nostalgic in a way. It brings people together. Generations of people. I love events where you see grandparents and parents and children and grandchildren kind of all under the same umbrella.
But one of the things I noticed yesterday as we celebrated Independence Day, July 4th, was that we can all agree that freedom is a gift and an important gift, right? So we'll argue every other day of the year about politics, about religion, about movies, about culture, about social issues. Pick your issue. We'll find a way to argue about it. But celebrating our country is something that we can all unite around, regardless of where we are in our personal thoughts.
Absolutely. Yeah, very thankful for the place in which we live, and just a shout out to the city itself for putting on just some great events and having spaces like Concord, like other places around town that provide the opportunity to gather together.
That's right. And listener, after this patriotic moment, this little conversation that Drew and I have had, Robin is now going to sing "Proud to Be an American." Robin, take it away.
Oh, that's all the time we have for right now.
We will be back with a much more qualified musician, Fletcher Wilson, right after this break. Listener, welcome back to the show. We love having conversations, just the three of us on the team, but we really, really enjoy having valuable conversations and learning more about those in our community who are doing great things for our community. So we have a special guest today. His name is Fletcher Wilson. And Fletcher, based just solely upon your website and Robin's introduction to you, kind of feel like we have a celebrity in our midst. So thank you for spending time with us today. We're going to hear more of your story and some of your accolades and different things. But maybe to just kick us off, Fletcher, welcome to the podcast. Tell us maybe about a celebrity that you're a fan of.
Well, thanks for flattering me. I don't know if I'm quite as famous as maybe my...
Well, that's all Robin. And when she stopped to take a selfie when you walked through the door this afternoon, that was what really gave us away.
Right, so now I got all the hashtags and stuff on Instagram.
That's right.
That's right. You don't want to know Robin's hashtags, though.
No, so any celebrities that you look up to or people you just appreciate?
Yeah, I was thinking probably John Williams would be one who I would love to meet. Greatest film composer of all time, in my opinion.
Is there a favorite movie of work that he's done that comes to mind?
There's so many.
Yeah, there's too many to name, right?
I really like E.T. I think that was when I kind of jumped on the boat a little late with that one. I don't think I watched it as a kid. I came to it later, but like Star Wars. I love Star Wars, Jurassic Park. But yeah, just being, I guess, having his influence on my own creativity, just being able to meet him would be so cool. Be a fly on the wall in his studio or something like that. That would be quite an experience.
Maybe he would say the same about you, Fletcher, when he meets you.
I doubt it.
I can't believe I get to be in the same room as
And he's got some days ticking off. He's pretty old. So last movie he's doing is Indiana Jones 5. So it's coming out
he's
soon.
looking for a successor. The world is looking for a new composer soundtrack. And talking about soundtracks, if your life right now came with a soundtrack, what genre of music would that soundtrack be and why?
I was thinking probably like an adventure.
Oh yeah?
Track or something kind of upbeat and rhythmic. That's just kind of how I am, personality, I guess. But yeah, just kind of, I guess recently I've felt kind of like I'm getting a good flow with the projects I've been working on, and always an adventure.
So you mentioned Indiana Jones. You're feeling a little bit like Indiana Jones.
Maybe less risk involved and like...
Yeah.
I was just thinking it out loud as you're sharing that, Fletcher. That's a great answer. If you had the ability, you probably download something on your phone where you're just walking through life and it's just it's like going into the bank, just random errands, and it would just kind of spice up your life, like 5%.
Just a little underscore to everything you do.
All right, one more question for you, just as a way of kind of icebreaker, getting to know you a little bit and having some fun. You're a musician, obviously, as your kind of answers have implied here. Is there a favorite band or favorite song that comes to mind? Andy and I are always looking for any kind of recommendations. I'm a old country music fan, and I need to get brought up at least to the 20th century.
Drew's a karaoke king too.
That's right.
That's awesome. I'm kind of old soul,
Okay.
So I'm a big fan of the Beatles and some of the rock bands from the 70s, like Kansas and Yes, and big fan of Steely Dan. So I love like old rock, classic rock, and jazz, and I guess some more modern groups since you're...
Those are great bands, but it hurts me that you're calling them old rock.
I was going to say, because I'm so young, I don't know those bands.
Yeah, so some more modern groups, I guess. I don't know if you guys have heard of Jacob Collier, but he kind of became an internet sensation. Basically just composing and producing music in his small room, probably about this size. And he kind of lit up on YouTube, kind of started with vocal jazz, and then he's kind of crossed into all the genres you could imagine. Very talented, plays every instrument. Definitely a big influence for sure.
That's awesome. So your website describes you as a film composer and multi-instrumentalist with a love for creating quality music that enhances the emotion and story of a project. That's quite a statement. Break it down, help us understand it.
Yeah, so I really do like to compose music, and having an understanding of all the instruments you're working with is really important. So I do play probably 5 or 6 different instruments, well enough to get around. Okay. And then I've studied lots of instruments for an orchestra, percussion, wind, brass, just so I can better compose for those instruments. And so a good majority of my actual composition is making realistic sounding orchestral scores without the help of an entire orchestra, So just being able to produce a high level of high quality music with just by myself, So that's where that comes from. And then when I'm starting to score a film or trying to work with a director with something, I really sit down with them and I'm like, okay, so let me get your take on this, because I want to get exactly not only what's happening on screen, but also, maybe some of the nuanced emotions of a scene, and, draw from that as I'm writing music to picture.
I love that. I just think that adds such value, not just to a movie, but for life as well. And there's something deeply embedded in the brain and the soul about that, right? That it's almost like our emotions are carried on the score. that you are writing.
Yeah.
You know, I was thinking as you were speaking about a lot of African American churches, specifically, although a lot of other churches do this, you know, when they have the pastoral prayer or the preacher is wrapping up his sermon, right? Someone starts to play the keys underneath, and it almost just like carries the words a little bit deeper within you.
Absolutely. Those moments. I guess growing up, I kind of had almost a little gospel-y flavor to the worship in the church that I grew up. So it was very, I guess, influential on me and spiritually and musically, you know, just having those times where they're connected, you know, music and faith. So
That's fantastic. Well, Fletcher, we were talking a little bit off air. You were born and raised in Florida. You were set up in the Panhandle area. You now reside in Seminole County, and you've been at this work. You're a younger guy, but you've been at the work of helping create music. I love just the idea of an entire score. Like I can just picture you in your, playing a little bit on different instruments and trying to compile all them together. That's amazing. My mind literally explodes as I struggle to even pick one or two notes. But as deserved, you've won some awards. Could you share with the audience kind of some of the awards you've won and maybe something you're proud of regarding those?
Yeah, so I was really fortunate to win several awards and like scholarships going into college where I went to school at Rollins College. So when I graduated there, I received a composition award there and the Senior Expressive Arts Scholar. So that was pretty cool just to receive those and kind of kickstart me into, professional career. And then some of the things that I've done since college was I won an award at the Indie Film Festival and I composed a score for a trailer. And they just did a competition along with showing a bunch of other films at that festival. So that was a really cool experience. I went to Cleveland to kind of receive that award and meet a bunch of other people in the indie film industry.
Was it the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame?
It was really close. Unfortunately, didn't get a chance to go, but next time. And then another one I won was a similar competition. It was just scoring a short film for the Christian Worldview Film Festival. So that was a pretty cool one. Just kind of having, I guess, a film that was, geared towards positive and like Christian mindset.
Do you mind if I interrupt for a second? When you're scoring these different, whether it's a trailer, short film, etc., you didn't create those. You're just kind of coming in.
Right.
What is your process in kind of adapting what fits best with the actual visual medium?
A lot of it is just hit play on the video and play piano along with the movie.
Okay.
Or the scene or whatever. And, it'll kind of evolve as from piano to maybe something more grand, fleshed out, or something,
So just even finding the rhythm of
definitely rhythm is important, and definitely like harmony, like a sad scene, is it a happy scene, is it, what are we going for emotionally, what kind of musical language can I use to evoke the same emotion?
Love that. That's fascinating. I'd love to see you at work. I know you got some videos on your website. You describe yourself as a pianist, an organist, an engraver, an arranger, and a teacher. I know what 4 of those things do, but I'm not quite sure what an engraver is. What's an engraver when it comes to this space?
Yeah, so I guess I started engraving my own scores. When I write something, I would write the music notes into a piece of paper or onto a program on the computer. And engraving is essentially that. You're producing a score that's somebody else, you can just hand it to them and they can read it. They know exactly what they need to do as a performer. So I've worked with different composers and with my own music, just engraving their score, giving them, here's the physical copy of the music that you've written. I guess in old days, engraving was literally a metal plate, metal sheet or something.
You studied that in elementary school, right?
I was thinking like a tombstone, right, where you're just kind of engraving the name, or a trophy when you're chiseling away. But no, that makes sense. So multiple roles that you do as you're building your life. Which one is your favorite?
I'd say I'm the most at home when I'm composing. I think that's like, as a creator, I think that's what I'm the most satisfied with, I guess, while I'm in the moment. But it's hard to really pick favorite generally. I spent years and years with piano, so it's like, I guess as a performer, I feel like I'm maybe backing away from that part of my career a little bit and more into the composing and working on different musical projects.
So all of us obviously watch television shows, movies, listen to music, etc. Things where, frankly, as you're sharing, it's fascinating. I hadn't really even thought deeply about the fact that music kind of just interplays throughout our lives in just a number of different ways, commercials, etc.
Yeah.
In your own words, Fletcher, how does a soundtrack enhance a story that's being shared?
Yeah, so you're trying to capture the mood of whatever you're seeing or hearing, or I feel like music is a language, and you can use words to describe things, you can use colors, paint, from an artistic perspective. You can also use musical notes, and pulling from the musical language, you can enhance and develop and, strengthen any kind of project.
I love it. And we'll dig into that a little bit more with this next question. So, as well as everything we've already talked about, you play piano and organ at Rollins College. I'm assuming in the beautiful little chapel there.
Yeah.
Which is really lovely. Weddings, parties, special events. But it jumped out at me on your resume that you are one of the guys who plays under the improv shows at SAC Comedy Club. And I've been there a few times. I got a couple of guys in my church who are taking the classes there, and so they're kind of moving out. But when I go to SAC, what actually makes that come alive for me is not the jokes on the stage, it's the kind of punctuation by the music. So talk us through, right? Because it's all happening in real time, right? The actors are on stage telling some jokes. What's the process from you seeing what's happening on stage in that microsecond it takes to make some music that makes everybody laugh?
Yeah, so that's actually kind of how I got started with film scoring. I kind of described that process already, playing along to a scene, movie going by, exactly the same thing that happens at SAC. I guess you're trying to capture the emotion of the scene. You're trying to, maybe they start singing a song and you just gotta jump in and, help them with that.
And then you probably actually get to carry them a little bit, right? So whatever so they'll start off with the joke and the story. You'll come alongside with the soundtrack, and then they'll go in the direction of
there's definitely bouncing off each other, They hear some maybe a little bit sadder music than the scene was, I don't know, and they kind of start going in that direction, or, it's just really fun to just create like that on the spot. And it's been a few years since I've been able to do that consistently, but that's really what got me into, the idea of putting music behind a scene and behind a score.
So can I ask how you got into that? How do you get that gig? I mean, you obviously got to be very talented, but I mean...
Quick-witted.
Yeah.
Yeah, just knowing your way around the keys, knowing exactly what sound is going to give you that emotion. But Dr. David Charles is the theater director at Rollins College, and I collaborated with him in doing a long-form improv show at Rollins my senior year, which was called Upton Abbey, and it was a play on Downton Abbey, but they turned it into like a full-length improvised comedy with the kind of similar characters to the TV show. And so what I did for that was made like a theme song for it, or like a main theme to the show that played as the characters kind of introduced themselves. And then I'd use little snippets of the theme and different pieces of the music that I wrote to underscore the entire production. So I think there are like 9 episodes essentially of this.
That's cool.
And so doing that and knowing Dr. D, he got me involved at SAC.
I love it.
That's amazing. I love your connections all around town here. Fletcher, a question a little bit closer to home. So we have a lot of families and parents that listen to our pod, and Andy and I are both in the midst of raising our kids. Andy's are a little bit further along. In fact, both of his children are in music, which is pretty cool.
Nice.
And both, they play instruments, both of them?
They do.
They do, yeah, that's
my
right.
son plays the saxophone, and my daughter plays the flute. Oh, I used to.
That's right. Yeah, and through high school. Yeah. So what would you tell maybe young parents that are raising kids?
In fact, let me just correct that, because she might be listening.
Uh-oh.
And I'm just having a blank.
I thought it was the clarinet.
The clarinet. Yeah, that's right. That's right. Oops.
Good catch.
Sorry, honey. Love you.
Close.
Proud of you.
One of those wind instruments.
One of those wind instruments.
He's like, all I know is
It has been a few years since you played it, though.
He's like, I paid money and I spent time listening to her play something.
I just don't know how I spent my money on my time.
Speak into the lives of parents and just even maybe from your own experience, of what's the value as you're trying to raise children that are, well-rounded and become functional adults? Why is music such a positive extracurricular activity for kids?
Yeah, I mean, as a kid myself, like, I was always interested in music, and there's lots of studies done with music and that how busy the brain is and how much it develops your brain as a child, just having music and performing music, playing music on an instrument, from motor skills like muscle memory to just the ability to multitask and be focused on lots of things at once. Those are a few things, but also just a way to connect with yourself, really. Like, I think a lot of kids, maybe even more nowadays, are just, they're pinned up. Maybe they can't express themselves as well as they'd like to. And for me, I think music was something that, I went to when something was hard or something was exciting, or, so it turned into something for me that was an outlet, a source of just understanding life better.
Yeah.
I think.
So for me, I journal a lot, and that's kind of how I take my thoughts, feelings, emotions out of myself.
Yeah.
And it makes sense that music would become a way to do that as well. So talking about the teaching side of what you do, we understand that one of your students is perhaps a problem student and is our very own producer, Robin. So the question is, in what ways...
He told you that.
In what ways has working with Robin strengthened your patience?
Well, I have been teaching Robin for, 6 or 7 years now? She was my...
Is she any
I want to
good?
say one of my first piano students.
Really? Is she any good? I mean, she tells us she's like brilliant.
I think she's as good as she says she is.
Good answer.
But, yeah, she's gotten much better over the course of taking lessons, and there's some things that don't come naturally to her that we work on regularly, but she's gotten a lot better at sight reading and finding her way around the piano and finding chords and stuff. So nice job.
Well done, Robin. We're proud of you.
Well,
So you teach music lessons then?
yeah, that's definitely something that I've invested a lot into time-wise, and it's probably my main source of income right now, professionally. And I love teaching. I think that I was kind of wary of it for some reason. Getting out of school, like, let me see what I can do. But when I started teaching, I just fell in love with it. So yeah, I just love working with students, helping them understand things. And
Well, Fletcher, this has been a fascinating conversation. The world that you live in, I find very interesting, that connection between the arts and really our identity and who we are, and the connection between story and soundtrack. I love that you're a teacher as well, and perhaps there are some folks listening who would like to find out more about who you are, what you do, how you can kind of add value to what they're learning, their life, that kind of stuff. How can people connect with you and find out more about your work?
yeah, I think the easiest way is to see what I've been working on and sign up for lessons, contact me about projects. You can do that on my website, www.fletcherwilsonmusic.com. And pretty much everything you might have a question for, hopefully, has an answer on the website.
And I think I saw on the website you can follow on the socials and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. So,
well.
same 3 words, Fletcher Wilson Music. I have Facebook, Instagram. I think that's it.
That's more than Drew has. So, That's good. So FletcherWilsonMusic.com, people can find you there, and I would encourage them to stop by and check them out. Like his pages and his stuff now, so that when he becomes the next John Williams listener, you can say, I knew him back when. Fletcher, you are an incredibly talented man who has a lot going in a very good direction, and we're excited to see where the future takes you. And we're honored that you would join us today, and grateful for all the ways that you serve our community. So thank you so much for your time, and thank you so much for sharing your gifts with so many. Robin, thank you so much for introducing us to Fletcher. He is a very talented man, obviously at the top of his game, who loves what he's doing. And I think it's just fascinating how he uses his gifts and talents to help enrich the quality of life that we share. So thank you, Fletcher. Thank you, Robin. Drew, we're getting ready to end our time together, but we need just a little bit more inspiration to push us over the top. What you got?
All right, so fitting that theme of independence and freedom, this is from not an American, but somebody very well known. This is Gandhi. Mahatma Gandhi said, anything from Gandhi is just, it's going to be gold right away. So here it is. He said, freedom is not worth having if it does not include the freedom to make mistakes. Freedom is not worth having if it does not include the freedom to make mistakes. It's one of the unique things about living in a free country and a free society is we have choices in this life to, whether it's start a business or become a parent or get involved and volunteer. There's lots of different opportunities to connect, to serve, to better our community, something that we champion each and every episode here in Castleberry. But ultimately, if freedom is just about serving self, if it's just about doing what's simply best for us, I would argue that is a mistake. But freedom sometimes involves taking chances, taking risks, which could lead to mistakes. But we want to encourage you, listener, as you go out and about this week, that as you are living in the land of the free, home of the brave, be reminded that you can do great things and start right here in Castleberry, do things for the betterment and value of our great place. Mahatma Gandhi said, freedom is not worth having.
Thank you, Drew, for sharing that quote. It's very helpful to someone like me to know that I am free to make mistakes because I make them quite a lot. Listener, thanks so much for joining us today. You are the reason why we do this podcast, and we hope that through what you've heard and learned today that you will play your part in building a stronger community here around Castleberry. Huge thanks to Robin, huge thanks to my co-host Drew, huge thanks to Fletcher for being with us today. We hope you'll follow us on our social media at What's Up Castleberry. Until next time, we hope you have a great week and we'll be back real soon. Take care.